Hello, Fairview Tigers, and welcome to the 6th episode of the podcast, Everything Tiger Sports, on the Speaking of Fairview YouTube channel, a channel dedicated to sharing with you what's up with the Tigers as they focus on academics, athletics, arts, and acts of service. I'm your host, Corey McCall, and today I'll be reviewing the past week of winter sports, previewing the upcoming games and meets, and then also highlighting one of the fall sports teams, which this week I'll be recapping the boys golf team's season. Also in today's episode, there will be an interview with Nathan Waples, a senior golfer for the Tigers. The first segment of the show will be called The Week in Review and Preview. Although there isn't much news to report on the swimming and diving team, they did just get done swimming at districts, and now the qualifying state swimmers are now preparing for that state meet, which is on Friday the 19th. Senior Morgan Doherty will be going to states for the 200 freestyle relay and 400 freestyle relay. Senior Ellie Krause will be going to states for the 200 freestyle, 200 freestyle relay, 100 freestyle, and 400 freestyle relay. Similarly, Senior Hallie Myers will be going to states for the 50 freestyle, the 200 freestyle relay, 100 freestyle, and 400 freestyle relay. And then finally, sophomore Abby Zablotny will be going to states for the 200 freestyle relay and 400 freestyle relay. Congrats to the swimmers who have qualified for states, and I wish them the best of luck this Friday. Hopefully they will bring home some gold medals. Let's stop swimming and go shoot some threes. The girls basketball team has been making history. On Saturday the 10th, the girls basketball team played in the District 10 Championship for what was only the second time in school history. The ladies then played at home in a battle of the views, and they ended up beating the Lakeview Sailors by a score of 44-37 in what was such a back-and-forth game the whole entire game. Because Lakeview was up 20-19 at halftime, and then Fairview was up 31-29 at the end of the third quarter, and then obviously Fairview ended up winning 44-37. The Tigers used this strong fourth quarter to eventually come out on top and write history by winning the first ever D10 championship for the girls basketball team. In Saturday's historic win, sophomore Hope Garrity finished with 21 points, sophomore Sarah Januso had 12 points, while seniors Sammy Momeyer and Jada McBride each finished with 4 points, and senior Abby McCall finished with 3 points. Additionally, this current season is the first time that the girls basketball team has ever had a 20-win season in program history. The ladies will now continue to try making history by playing in the state quarterfinals at home against Forest Hills on Friday the 19th at 7 p.m. This game will be the second time in school history that the girls basketball team has ever made it to the state playoffs. And the only other time was during the 2019 season, where they narrowly lost to Avonworth by a score of 49-39. I wish the ladies the best of luck with their game on Friday. Hopefully they can continue to make history and win the first ever state playoff game for the Fairview girls basketball team. It is now time for a segment called Fall Back On, where I will highlight one of the fall sports teams. Today, I'll be recapping the boys golf team season and interviewing senior golfer Nathan Waples. This past season, the golf team had a pretty successful season as they finished third in Region 5 play and had a perfect independent record of 2-0 with wins over Erie High by a score of 166-170 and General McLean by a score of 163-177. In the top 5 Tiger scoring averages are as follows. Sophomore Will Fessler had an 85, junior Matt Drabont had a 92.3, junior Zach Franos had a 92.5, junior Sean Houston had a 95.4, and senior Nathan Waples had a 99.5. Additionally, 2 golfers were named to the All-Region team as both Fessler and Drabont were named as second-team All-Region golfers. The golf team has a bright future ahead of them as most of their players are pretty young, which means that a lot of them will be returning for next year and they can maybe hope to win the region title next year. Here's my conversation with Waples about this golf season. First, I would like to congratulate you on a successful golf season. And kind of going off that, my first question is, Can you explain what a typical week during the golf season looks like with like regard to practice matches, like etc. How much you guys are like out on the course, just like stuff like that.
All right. Typically we have around 2 matches per week on a normal week, and then we would practice 2 to 3 times. Practices would just be playing 9 holes, and it just depended on how much we can get the course booked. But yeah, it's a little bit less of a commitment than normal sports, but it's still a pretty big commitment because matches are typically during the day, so you would miss the whole day of school when you had a match.
Yeah, I remember you guys would miss like a ton of school. Like you'd get out at like 11 or 12 and then you'd miss the rest of the day. And where do you usually practice at?
So this year our home course was Beechwood, and we practiced there every time. But sometimes when we couldn't get the course, we would go to a driving range such as Sportland and just hit golf balls there.
Okay, that's cool, yeah. Can you explain a little bit of how this like past golf season was different from years past? Like how did the pandemic affect your golf team, if it did at all?
Since golf is like the team size on a match day is only 5 to 6 players per team, so it didn't really affect it that much. But when we were going to each one of our matches, we had to stay very spaced out on the bus, and unless we were playing on the course, we had to wear a mask. And other than that, it didn't really affect it that much because we're outside and it's fairly easy to stay spaced out in golf.
Yeah. So was like districts like different than years past or like at all?
Yeah, districts. So for golf, there's 2 different kinds of districts. Every year, the top team in each region gets taken to districts, the entire team. But then there's individuals districts. And for individuals, the player size got cut in half. Usually they take the top 10, so all region first team and all region second team. But this year, because of COVID, they only took 5. So one of our players he would have made it on a normal year, but because of COVID, he wasn't able to go.
Oh, wow. That stinks. So another question is, how do you stay calm and focused during a bad round of golf when like shots aren't going your way? Because I'm sure that like every golfer has had a bad round before. So what do you do to stay focused?
When you have a bad round, you just kind of have to put it past you and just play one hole at a time. Usually when I have a bad round, when I start off bad, I don't even think about the score and I just think about having fun and playing. But also, there's also that aspect. In each match, you only take 4 scores. So if your score is the worst, it doesn't really matter that much. So sometimes you just have to hope that your teammates are having a better round than you. And sometimes it's not the case, but oftentimes when you have especially a really bad round, usually your teammates can pick you up.
Yeah, that's definitely something you should do when you're like having a bad round of golf. And if you could play a round of golf with anyone, either from history or from today, who would it be and why? You can think about this for like a couple seconds, but
I would want to play golf with Ricky Fowler because he's my favorite professional golfer because I really like how he expresses himself. In matches, he sometimes wears bright orange pants, so I think that's really cool. And pretty much just like I said, he's my favorite golfer from the PGA Tour.
Yeah, that's cool. That would be super cool to play a round of golf with him. And so my last question is, what has been your favorite memory from your whole Fairview golf career? Because I know you played freshman year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like your favorite memory from freshman to senior year.
My favorite memory would probably be from this year. I was the last group in on a particular match, and I sunk like a 30-foot putt, and everyone started like cheering for me. And I thought that was really cool because especially in golf, there's like no crowd. So oftentimes you don't, like when you make a good shot, it's usually just you or one of your playing mates congratulating you. But that was really cool to see everyone else like kind of rooting for me, even from opposite teams.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. That was the one moment from this season that really stuck out to me.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time today. Once again, congrats on your golf season.
All right, thank you.
Once again, congrats to the boys golf team on a successful season and to all the golfers recognized for their hard work and skill. This is now the end of the show, so to wrap up, I would like to wish the sports teams continued success during the week. For game times and highlights and details about how to stream games and meets, please check the Fairview Tiger Athletics account on Twitter with the handle @Fairview_Tigers. Finally, I would like to give a big thank you to several people and apps that have helped make this podcast possible, especially my honors public speaking teacher, Mrs. Stevens, my principals, Dr. Lane and Mr. Bell, and my athletic director, Lindsay Fariska, for giving me the opportunity to make this type of project. Also, Trey Blystone for letting me use his outstanding photography that has been able to capture so many of Fairview student athletes in action. The app iMovie for enabling me to put together this podcast, including allowing me to use its music. The Fairview athletes for agreeing to be a part of this Everything Tiger Sports, and you for listening to this podcast. I'm Corey McCall, and this is Everything Tiger Sports. I hope you'll join me next time for another episode as I continue to recap, preview, and highlight the athletics here at Fairview High School.